taking action for you this morning on TV 20 Detroit starts right now.
What's happening in entertainment with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
Welcome to another edition of PulseBeat with Greg Dunmore. On this particular show, we are probably the only media outlet to acknowledge the month of April, not only being the National Month of Hope, but also Black Women's History Month. We're standing in front of Stevie Wonder, and it really underscores that beautiful song that he composed, Isn't She Lovely, Isn't She Wonderful, as we're going to salute two powerful women in politics, the late great Congresswomen SHIRLEY Chisholm and Barbara Jordan. Also, Brenda NAOMI Rosenberg. She symbolizes the important movement of from hate to hope to healing. So stay tuned as we are honored to spotlight some magnificent women during this month of April.
It's time for the body politic to truly represent America.
I was awestruck. Well, that was the first time that I thought about registering to vote.
I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America.
Who is this? She's running for what? I said, oh, she got to be crazy. You know, I said, I got to meet her.
Spread the word, one another, it's the maddest thing you ain't heard.
For the first time in the history of this nation, a person of color and a woman at that is running for the highest office of this land.
This was a period when Black women were finding their voices in unprecedented ways. There's another kind of individualism and sense of liberation.
We cannot continue to take things as they are. When we see around us that government is not responsive to certain segments of the population.
There was a grassroots movement. People who had never participated in political thought and political ideas were now doing it.
She was willing to take on the white establishment on the issues of the Vietnam War, on Head Start. She was out there.
And of course, she was the first African-American female in Congress, in the U.S. Congress, and she was also the first Black person since Reconstruction, I would think, that was a serious candidate for the presidency of this country.
I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America. I felt that the time had come when a black person or a female person could and should be president of these United States of America, not only white males. Just about 4 years before, I had gone to the Congress as the first black person to be elected to the Congress, and I had gone on a number of speaking engagements through the country, and there was a fantastic development for me as an individual, and people were encouraging me, Miss Chisholm, you should run. You should run because you're a woman. We never had a woman president. You're black. You never had a black person for president. You speak Spanish. You have a lot of things, and you have a knowledge of the issues. Run. Yeah. But I knew I would be in trouble because the moment that the announcement was made that I was going to make a bid for the presidency, all hell broke loose.
There was nobody before her. I had a chance to meet her when I was working for Congressman George Crockett in D.C. some years ago, and I saw her in the cafeteria of the Rayburn building where the office was, and when I saw her, I acknowledged her as being first. And I said, a lot of people forget that you did it first. And you know what she did? She said, can you give me a hug? And I hugged her. She was very happy that I acknowledged that because sometimes it's not acknowledged.
I would remind all Americans at this hour of the words of Abraham Lincoln, a house divided cannot stand.
Although I mentioned this little known fact on your show way back when super singer Jennifer Holliday told me this, when I asked her who most influenced her powerhouse singing style, she said it was this Lady Dynamo with the regal and distinctive oratory that most inspired her sound as a singer.
Today I am an inquisitor, and hyperbole would not be fictional and would not overstate the solemnness that I feel right now. My faith in the Constitution is whole, it is complete, it is total. And I am not going to sit here and be an idle spectator to the diminution, the subversion, the destruction of the Constitution.
Barbara Jordan, and can you imagine, Jennifer Holliday told me, and I thought she was going to say Aretha Franklin or another singer, she said that I sing in the way that I would imagine Barbara Jordan, based on that regal speaking voice, would have sounded had she been a singer.
You well know all of the urban ills and problems are telescoped in the 18th Congressional District of Houston, Texas. We've got the poverty extremes, we have a tri-ethnic population, we have a district which will lend itself quite well to a hard-working, functioning member of Congress. And I want to be a servicing member of Congress.
Unknown fact, the great Barbara Jordan inspiring Jennifer Holliday as a singer.
Without Project Clean Slate, there is no telling where I would be right now.
It gave him back his life, because once he got the felony, it seemed like life was over.
Being unemployed, being depressed, being a burden. Project Clean Slate helped wipe those things away. I can't say thank you enough. I am now able to work for a reputable airline. Detroit had my back, all because I live in Detroit.
What happened to your business idea you've been dreaming about? Build Institute offers business and project planning classes for aspiring and established entrepreneurs. We'll help you launch and test your concept, provide access to capital funding, and provide one-on-one coaching and mentoring. So don't just dream about starting your business, build it with Build Institute. To register and for more information, visit us at www.buildinstitute.org.
As we continue our celebration of April as the official Black Women's History Month, we decided that we had to spotlight the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, the High Priestess of Soul, Nina Simone, that always gorgeous actress, singer, Lena Horne, and my mother, Pennison singer, the fabulous Ms. Jo Thompson. When you talk about the singers that were involved in the movement, our Queen of Soul was there. Aretha, she was the backbone in giving the spirit through song. And then you had people that, Nina Simone was there, of course, and we played her. And Lena Horne. Lena Horne also, behind the glamour, was a woman who certainly understood the struggle. And I remember my father said that, she was a pinup woman during the war, and someone said, well, the white guys had Betty Gable, Gable, the movie star known for the legs, and then the black soldiers had Lena Horne. But then my father said that it wasn't just because she was a sex symbol and this beautiful lady, but because they knew that as they were struggling through the battle for equality in the Army, they knew that she was also a sister in the struggle because she was struggling for equality in Hollywood.
And you know something? Nina Simone, with her beautiful looks, with her skin, not Nina Simone, Lena Horne. Nina Simone was beautiful as well.
Yes.
But Lena Horne, with her look and the hue of her skin, could have very easily taken the other road.
She could have,
She could have gone in a different direction. She represented what white America perceived as beautiful.
Yes.
And she could have decided not to be a part of the movement.
But she had to be a part because her spirit was always rooted in justice.
That's what I'm saying, her conviction.
And she and Frank Sinatra, they toured the South to raise monies for the NAACP. A lot of people don't realize that even Frank Sinatra, he was also someone that stood up for human rights, and he understood. He wrote an article, it was published in Ebony, it said, why the Negro must be respected. And that was a term that was used in J. Edgar Hoover. Because of that, he had him listed as a communist because he dared to say that black people must be respected.
If he stays away, old rocking chair will get me.
Lena was just gorgeous. Lena and I, we were booked at Jack Goldman's Clover Club in Miami at the same time. But I always thought Lena was I thought she was just fabulous. I just loved her. And Lena was very, very nice. And I used to go up to Lena's dressing room. She was married to Lenny Hayden, the orchestra leader. And I used to go up to Lena's dressing room between shows, and Lenny would ask the waiter to bring a bottle of champagne, and Lenny, Lena, and myself would sit there and sip on this champagne and just talk about different things in the business.
Let me tell you who Joe Thompson is. Joe Thompson is a pianist and singer. She's an entertainer, a performer, a widow, mother of 3 sons. She's also a grandmother. If I were an instrument, I would be a piano. I choose a piano because that's what I've done all of my life, play the piano. I started out as a young girl taking piano lessons. My father always wanted me to be a musician. And many of the people that I really admired were musicians that played the piano.
PulseBeat. PulseBeat. April is the national month of hope, and no woman dignifies, symbolizes the national month of hope better than our very own Brenda, NAOMI, ROSENBERG. Brenda, we're in trying times now, and as we said, that word that you embrace and you define, and it's part of your passion, L-O-V-E, love. You have a saying that I think is so important, especially in this state of world crisis.
We actually were calling it hate to hope, but it's hurt, hate. It's that combination of being hurt and which blossoms and becomes hate. So the hurt becomes the hate. We see so many wounded people today, and it's at all ages, not just children, not just adults. And several years ago, I did a project. I was very concerned, as I still am today, about bringing a better understanding. And that project was called From Hate to Hope. We were able to change attitudes by bringing the children together with the police and having interactive experiences with them at the police station. They got to know them. They got to have lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with them. And it just changed everything. Then the group of the 20 kids from Roseville High School put on the website, they wanted everyone to know what to do if you're stopped by a police car. I truly believe we are all connected. And I think nothing can change until we really feel comfortable and we have the tools to be able to have the honest conversations. The thought of going and killing someone that you don't agree with, I mean, I can't even imagine where that comes from, but we're seeing so much of that, especially in the last 10 days.
Now, your background is very fascinating. As a child, you came from a very creative family. Let us know the background and the wonderful parents that were so instrumental in why you are who you are today.
Well, that's why my book is called Charmed, because I have led a charmed life. How lucky was I to have 2 handsome and beautiful parents who encouraged me every day and made their dreams come true. My father was a linotype center, and he said, I want to create a mini cultural museum. I want to be able to have people experience art and music firsthand. He said, we're going to have to make some changes because I don't know if I can make any money doing this. He said, I've saved up some, but I don't want to do it unless I know that I have your support. We said, oh, sure, Dad, sounds really cool, you know. And he created the Raven. It was a combination of an art gallery, and he had performers from all different aspects of music playing there. And they became, my brother Sanford and mine, they were our friends growing up. So we had this amazing exposure. We got to sit at the table with artists from Cranbrook, and they treated us like adults, and we had the most interesting conversations.
Now the Raven Gallery became iconic, and it was in Southfield, Michigan originally.
It started in Detroit.
In Detroit.
At James Cousins and Northwestern at James Cousins, and then moved to Birmingham, and then to Southfield.
And let us know some of the stellar names that performed at the Raven Gallery.
Folk singers like Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee.
Which way does that blood red river run? From my back window straight to the rising sun.
And Josh White Sr. and Josh White Jr.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun, and it's been of many poor girls and me,
And the most iconic.
Now, if Gordon might put.
No.
Would you welcome, please, Jimmy Buffett?
Unbeknownst to a lot of people, I started out many, many years ago playing in a little club called the Raven Gallery out in Southfield, and in club circuit days, and we worked our way up through those years of clubs and places like that to where we actually got to open for Jerry Jeff Walker at Pine Knob.
Searching for my lost shaker song. Some people claim that there's a woman to blame, but I know this could be my fault.
Stay tuned as we continue to talk to the awe-inspiring Brenda Naomi Rosenberg and other fascinating, wonderful people.
What's happening in entertainment with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
If you like what we're doing, please tell a friend, or if you want to see what we've done again, go to PulseBeatGlobal.com. That's PulseBeatGlobal.com. You can also go to our PulseBeat TV YouTube channel, and you can revisit what we're doing. And once again, you can tell everybody that we're doing something that is so exciting that they wouldn't want to miss it. Remember PulseBeatGlobal.com or the YouTube channel PulseBeat TV. Thanks for telling the world about it.
What's happening in entertainment with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
There's no one more fascinating than Brenda Naomi Rosenberg. She's an artist, she's an activist, she is awe-inspiring. But certainly the Raven Gallery became a cultural institution and a dream come true for your dad. So the passion that your father had and that your mom had, that I would think is part of what allows you to do what you're doing today, no?
It was a magical place. So artists, Harold Neal, one of the first Black Power artists, no one dared show his work. They thought it was, oh my God. And my father thought it was just beautiful. So when you learn at a very young age to see the beauty in the differences, it changes everything. It changed everything as a child growing up and then now as an adult.
We are two women from radically different professions, backgrounds, cultures, ideologies, and beliefs who share a passion to bring opposing communities together.
We saw from our own conversations of the most contentious topics surrounding the Mideast conflict that tension is seldom eradicated. We chose to use the tension surrounding conflict as an opportunity to deepen our understanding and engage the other.
I know a little bit about Brenda Rosenberg, her work towards uniting people and her message between turning hate to hope, and don't know her on a personal level, never had the chance to meet her, but yeah, I mean, as someone who has dedicated their life work to equity, justice, advocacy, and deeply believing in any person's right to self-determination and freedom, and this idea to be able to be who they are and to feel safe in their own skin no matter what place they're in or what country they reside in. You know, I think her message around turning hate to hope is how do we identify the thing that brings us together as people and try to resist this urge to identify the differences that divide us. And in order for us to move towards this idea of hope and peace is we have to honor the backstories that have made people who they are, and we have to be able to center the way that we want to move forward by honoring who they wish to be as well.
PulseBeat. What's happening in entertainment with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
Wow, Greg Dunmore, PulseBeat, and I'm feeling the pulse of your wonderful spirit in this home. I mean, this is just awesome.
Thank you for signing in.
And one of your favorite words, peace.
Shalom, salam.
But there's another friend, and she is a remarkable woman in this community in metropolitan Detroit, and also a filmmaker, Dr. Sherry Rogers, and she has Spill the Honey Foundation. Would you say something about what Spill the Honey symbolizes in this discussion of love and peace?
Well, I'm thrilled that I am the first story on Sherry Rogers' website for Spill the Honey, the family story of how my parents spilled the honey, that I spilled the honey, and that my brother taught chess at Southeastern High School and took them to the nationals. So the kids from Southeastern High School won the National Chess Championship 3 years in a row. So Sherry has a wonderful project. Her film is amazing, Shared Legacies. So it tells the beautiful story of Martin Luther King and Rabbi Joshua Heschel.
Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel said, "The future of America will depend on how it responds to Dr. King."
It was the work that Dr. King had spoken for, fairness, equality, against anti-Semitism, and sort of freedom for Soviet Jews.
A large Jewish presence in the civil rights movement was evident almost from the beginning.
Well, Stan Levinson and Harry Wachtel, the lawyers were working with Dr. King. They were advisors, marchers, fundraisers. They were in the thick of things.
Many Jewish students worked all across the South. And I will never, ever forget 3 young men, Andy Goodman, Micah Scherner, and James Shaney.
How they walked arm in arm across the bridge and stood with each other and created that and showed by themselves you couldn't do much, but together they created miracles. You can't build a bridge without points of tension. Without tension, a bridge will collapse. Yes. So it's so important for us to address the tension. We need to look at it. We need to be able to share our deepest fears and our deepest feelings and be in relationship with each other. And that's what's missing, and that's what I'm currently working on, to create a space so people can see what it looks like with a group of friends, to demonstrate what it looks like to have that tough conversation, and the conversation that most people now are running away from, as long as one isn't filled with hate. If it's filled with hate, there is nothing that I can do. Nor can I walk into a room and think I can open up hearts and change minds. I don't do anything unless people sign a document that they're willing to create something new together that has not been done before, that will help more than just the people in the room. Because then I know I have a room full of change makers. I can't do anything by myself.
Thanks for joining us on this edition of Pulse Beat with Greg Dunmore as we celebrated Black Women's History Month and April being the National Month of Hope. We also celebrate you because you're part of the reason that we do what we do. Until the next go round, thanks for watching.
Pulse Beat.